Hello, mathematicians. Okay, this is the last of our circle lessons. After this, you have a little bit of practice, and then you're ready for your test. Okay, I want you to recall from the last lesson that the standard form of the equation of a circle is the quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared equals the radius squared, where hk is the center of our circle and r is the radius. And remember, if we need to, we can always square root, or we can square it depending on what the question is asking us. Okay, you're going to write each circle equation in standard form with the given information. So they've given me the center of 5, 3 and a radius of 2. So I am going to copy that exactly. Now remember, x minus, and h is my first one. So remember, this is h and that is k, right? If you need to, label it. H is 5, so I'm going to write squared, and then my plus sign. And then I have y minus k, remember k is 3, squared equals the radius squared. Well, the radius squared is actually 4, so you know what I actually want to do? Well, okay, so we got x minus 5 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 2 squared is 4. So that's actually how we're going to write it. I'll show you a little bit easier on the next one so I can think ahead. Let me get my pencil just in case I have to erase. Okay, so my center in this time is a -1, 7. So when I go to plug this in, I'm going to have an x. See, told you I was going to make a mistake. Okay, I have an x. Now I'm going to minus -1. So minus a -1 is actually a +1 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals, now this is my radius squared. So remember, I have to square that, right? So if I need to square it, I can just go ahead and square it early on. 14 squared is 196. So there is my equation. Not too bad, right? You really just have to substitute the number in. I am actually going to skip down and do number 5. You can do number 3 and 4. I'm going to show you what to do with that tricky radical right there. Okay, so I'm actually going to write it all once and then I'll simplify it. So we've got x minus h minus, and remember h is a -4 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals the square root of 47 squared. Okay, that's messy looking, and you know we mathematicians don't like things that are messy, so I'm going to rewrite a few things. I notice that this negative is a positive, so I'm going to write it as x plus 4 squared. Y minus 0, well, I don't need to write y minus 0, so I'm just going to write y squared. I can't get rid of the squared, but I don't have to write that negative or minus 0. And then, what do I do when I have the square root of 47? Okay, I'm going to show you what happens on a calculator. So I'm going to inverse and write square root of 47, right? But now, I am going to square it. And look at, it's 47. All we did was remove the square root. So when you have a square root sign and a square, they actually undo each other. And so now it is just 47. And so there we go. We are done. So when you square the square root of 158, you're going to end up with 158. Okay, now set number 2. Given the center and the circumference of a circle, or the area, you have to write the equation. I'm noticing this might be a little small for some of the work, so I'm actually going to do some of the work out here. Okay, so I'm going to begin here. I do notice that I have x minus 1 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals, I don't know the radius squared yet, right? So I'm going to kind of just leave a blank for me there because I don't know what the radius is. What I do know is that the circumference is pi d, right? And then circumference is 6 pi. So 6 pi, oh, well, if it's already got pi, right, it's already got the pi, that means it can go on this side. So it is pi times 6. So our diameter is 6. So if our diameter is 6, then what is our radius? Well, our diameter is twice our radius. So our radius is half of that. So our radius is 3. So now I have 3 squared, right? Got to remember back from those beginning lessons. So I'm going to simplify it here. I've got x minus -1 is going to be plus 1 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals, well, 3 squared. 3 times 3 is 9. And there is my answer. So you are going to, oh, let me go ahead and do number 9. And then you guys can do the ones over here. Okay, number 9. Notice that I have x minus a -8 squared plus y minus a -11 squared equals, I don't know what my radius is, but I'm going to have to square it. So what is area? Area is equal to pi r squared. Well, in this case, I have pi times 16. So area is equal to pi times 16. So that means my radius squared is 16. Well, I just need to unsquare 16. Let's go back to that other assignment we had. I remember the square root of 16 is 4. Or you could actually just come up here, and if I need to unsquare it, remember, if I have to unsquare, I'm going to use that square root sign, right? And I get 4. So I know that radius is 4. With that, I'm going to put it in here. And I'm going to rewrite this. X, subtract a negative is actually a positive 8. And then y, subtract a negative is actually adding 1 squared, equals 4 times 4 is 16. And there's my equation. Okay, so you'll have to do 8 and 10. I am going to show you how to do number 11, and then you guys will be, yeah, on the rest of it. Well, we'll see. We'll turn it over and see. Okay, given the graph. Now, this is where you have to find the center of your circle, and I know that looking right over the top, there is my center. Remember, we always need to have the center, which is HK. And I need to know what the radius is, right? So the center here is, well, here's 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3. And then I have to drop down 2, so -2. Okay. Now my radius is, how long does it take to get to the edge of the circle? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My radius is 5. So let's go ahead and write our equation here. I'm going to have x, well, I'm going to have -3 squared plus, now it's a -2, so I know it's going to be y plus 2 squared equals, well, what is 5 squared? 25. And there is my equation. So you're going to go ahead and do that for number 12. And you actually get to cross out the back side. Look at that, aren't you guys set? Okay, so go ahead and finish up the 7 or so that are there, 6 or 7. And when you are done, let's do some practices and get you ready for your test.